growing up poor and what it feels like to be poor. Some of these individuals have never had to experience what poor is, especially in the Republican Party. I feel like the Republicans are like, get out of here, peasant. Get out of here. Welcome to the Just Listen podcast. If this is your first time visiting the channel, I ask for you to just hang around and just hang tight with me as we enjoy talking about the madness that is going on. I have my LED light up here, and I have it as red because it's not for the Republican Party. It is for the doom and gloom that is taking place in our country as of today, and so on and so forth since Donald Trump got back into office. So I wanted to tell us a little story real quick about my childhood upbringing in Wisconsin. I was born and raised in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Let's just say I don't claim Kenosha. I don't claim Wisconsin. Hey, shout out to the Cheeseheads, to the Bears fans, to the Vikings fans, the Packers fans. I'm sorry, but I ended up relocating with my mother to Kokomo, Indiana. Oh my goodness. Let's just say my 6+ years. Well, let's just say 6 years, because we ended up moving when I was 11, turning 12. Started middle school there. So I went through middle school and high school in Kokomo, Indiana. And let's just say it was a very interesting journey. And then I went to college in Kentucky, not the University of Kentucky, but University of Louisville. Go Cards. L's up. And I spent a lot of my years, well, the majority of my years in Louisville, Kentucky. Now, my family and I, my wife and I, we relocated to Florida. We've been here for almost a decade now. So, there we go. But this story I wanted to talk about is when I was growing up as a kid, doing kid things, and of course, living on syrup sandwiches, living on cereal for dinner, living on, just trying to scrap and get by. I was the type of kid, I had siblings, younger and older. So my younger siblings, my younger brother and sister, that is, and my older sister, she's a year older than us. We would have syrup sandwiches when we were kids. That was called living poor back then. We were the kids that in a neighborhood that we grew up in, heavily gang oriented. You had the GDs and Vice Lords, of course, the Bloods and the Crips that they say in Cali. But, growing up, we didn't have the, steaks. We were fed with a wooden spoon instead of a gold or silver spoon. Let's just put it like that. And, the things that we would eat, syrup sandwiches. We would make, we toast up the bread, rip it up and throw some syrup in there. That was our meal. Fish sticks, cereal, like the Lucky Charms. And I was the type of kid that I would dig in for the marshmallows instead of eating the Lucky Charms itself, because I didn't really like Lucky Charms. The government cheese. And, those times where we would have fun, we would have somebody would throw out a mattress, okay? And this is dirty. This is really dirty. But somebody would throw out a mattress, and we would be the ones that would be flipping off on that mattress, not knowing that there were bed bugs or anything like that on there. But that's what we did when we were kids. Sometimes there would be people that would crank open a fire hydrant, and that was our pool. That was our pool. That's what we played in water back then. And I can remember growing up, and, there were the days that I would walk to school. You know what I'm saying? We would walk to school because it was in walking distance and, be educated, let's just say. That was growing up poor for me. Rarely did we go out to dinner at nice restaurants to eat. It was ramen noodles or the Chef Boyardee raviolis in the can, and that's what I experienced as a kid. But what the Republicans are getting ready to do right now with this big beautiful bill is they're getting ready to enrich the rich even more than what they are. And they're getting ready to tax the hell out of the poor middle class, because the tax breaks that they're going to try to put into place are permanent for the rich, for the top 10%, where, of course, the middle and lower class, the tax percentage will end up just leaving and dissipating. It might be something that you have for, let's say, 4 or 5 years, and then next thing you know, you don't get that little tax credit that you would receive, like the corporations and the rich. Because as we well know, the corporations and the rich are the ones that is benefiting off of the backs of their employees that they love to pay below the livable wage. So you have individuals who are still living poor while working 10 and 12 and 13 and 14 hours out of a day, 6 to 7 days a week. That's what they're doing to try to get by, to pay their bills, because, of course, nowadays it's like $1,100-$1,200 just to rent an apartment, a small apartment. You have to have a roommate these days. You have to have a roommate, or maybe even multiple roommates, to be able to get by these days, where we have CEOs that their yearly bonus that they receive are in the millions of dollars. That's what we have with the Republican Party. The Republicans treat individuals like peasants, and they love to enrich the rich. Now, you can say that Democrats do the same thing. However, me as a black man, I've benefited a lot more under a Democratic president. My mother has benefited a lot more under a Democratic president, or the Democrats that are, controlling the House or the Senate, or, just everything. There's been more black wealth to myself under a Democrat. Whereas in the 43 years that I've lived, I'm saying that in the past, like I'm getting ready to go today. The 43 years that I've been living under Republican rule, there has been more struggle for my household and myself. And that goes to my tax dollars, my wife's tax dollars. We put in more to, hey, we file our taxes, we're paying a lot more, and this is without the child tax credit, because if you have a child, you used to get a child tax credit that will give you a little bit more of a boost of your money. But yeah, that's just the Republican Party right there. This video is really, I'm going to touch on something else, but I wanted to talk about, growing up poor and what it feels like to be poor. Some of these individuals have never had to experience what poor is, especially in the Republican Party. These people have been built on generational wealth, where their family members have had a business and they've had undocumented employees that they pay under the table, and never had to struggle like individuals like myself have in the past. I'm grateful and blessed that I have a strong household. I have a strong family background when it comes to just grinding, just getting out there and grinding. My wife and I are completely blessed. God has blessed us so much, but not everybody has been in the situations that my wife and I have to be blessed. And they can't get on their feet because there are systems and policies that be put in place to keep them down. There are corporations that love to treat employees like cattle and don't want to pay them a livable wage, and don't want to give them healthcare insurance that's going to be able to help them if they need to go and see a primary care physician. The Republican way is more for me and less for thee. 110%, honestly. So yeah, growing up, syrup sandwiches, having to have cereal for dinner, didn't have a steak until I got older and I actually started working and had a job and things like that. But I didn't really have a steak like that when I was growing up, because we didn't grow up with wealth in our pockets. We had to work twice, 3 times, 4 times as hard, people of color, to just get by. You hear that saying about pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Get out there and work. Get out there and work. And you have people that do that. You have people like myself that do that. We bust our butts and still can't get by, because guess what? They still want to keep us down. That's why you have the issues that we have in place right now when it comes to capitalism. A certain circle of individuals that continue to get rich, where their employees have to reach out to the government system to get some type of aid, to get some assistance, because they are getting paid minimum wage, or they are getting paid $10 an hour at one job and then maybe $7.25 at another job. That's just how it's been. Corporate America is destroying America as it is because of greed. You know what they say about greed in the Bible? One of the seven deadly sins. You know, I'm not versed in the Bible like my wife is. I need to step up on my game. But anyways, that's the story I wanted to talk about. There's one more thing that I wanted to talk about, and this is the FAFO stage when it comes to our farmers. So, yeah, I'm going to dive in on this because it's just another thing when it comes to the FAFO stage, when it comes to voting against your own will, just like a lot of these migrants who migrated here for asylum or something like that, and they're finding themselves getting detained by ICE because they decided to vote for Donald John Trump. Yeah. So, yeah, check this out. So I pulled this up on my news here. U.S. farmers feel pain as soybean exports from China flatline despite tariff truce. And you remember, this is a 90-day tariff truce, okay? This is a 90-day tariff truce. This is not, and I believe that Trump is going to either cave or keep kicking the can down the road. Let's say, but China's purchases of America's pork show signs of recovery after also plunging to zero during the height of the trade war. And like I said, this is on my news. I will put down the link in regards to this. This was posted on May the 23rd. China's imports of America's soybean and pork plunged to zero in early May and have yet to recover despite U.S.-China tariff truce, suggesting the trade war may have done lasting damage to the key U.S. export trade. Excuse me, I'm trying to read this here. It's late. But anyways, yeah, for years, China has been a vital market of U.S. agriculture products, with American farmers exporting more than $12 billion U.S. dollars of soybean alone to the country in 2024, according to the U.S. government figures. But the trade was almost entirely severed after U.S. President Donald Trump launched an unprecedented trade war against Beijing in early April, which saw both sides hike tariffs on each other's goods by more than 100 percentage points in a series of tit-for-tat moves. Now, I'm going to tell you this. This was self-inflicted by America. Trump in the 2017 presidency, Trump added tariffs to China that really took a hit to our farmers and the farmers' equipment, where we had to spend $28 billion to get out of the rut. We had to give $28 billion of subsidies of yours and my tax dollars for the farmers back in 2017. And you can only imagine what this is going to do now. And don't get me wrong, Biden didn't make any changes to that particular tariff that Trump had imposed on China. However, Biden did some amazing things to try to help out every single individual, from the poor up to a little bit of the rich. Chinese imports of America's soybean and pork, previously two of the U.S. most important export categories in trade with China, plunged dramatically from April and flatlined completely in early May, according to the data of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. I'm shocked that they would even put this information on there. Anyways, U.S. pork exports to China show signs of recovery in the days following May 12th, when the two sides announced a temporary deal to de-escalate the trade war, with new orders bouncing back to close the pre-April levels, though shipments remain low as of May 15th. So this was 8 days ago. The shipments remain as low. The data showed, however, U.S. exports of soybeans to China remain at zero as of May 15th, with no new purchase deals having been struck. And I'm going to leave it at that right there because I wanted to talk about another thing that's happening too. And I'm going to post a video on the end of this, so I'd appreciate if you watch it to the end. But tourism is down in the United States. I posted a video on this, and I will try to post a link to that as well if I can remember. But yeah, tourism is down in America. My family and I, we went to one of the places that we love to go every year, Busch Gardens in Tampa. And when we went there, it was nowhere near as busy during the time frame that we usually go. We usually go around, May time frame. Was not nearly as busy as it has been in the past with tourism. I mean, we could get on rides quickly. We could walk around without bumping into people. Previously in the past, we would have to wait at least an hour to get on a ride. I'm talking rides were took 10 minutes, you can get on this ride here. And that's because of Donald Trump and the Trump administration and what they're doing to not only the American people, but the people that try to come here for asylum, that have, some have green cards that have been revoked, and tourism, tourists that come here. We're going to be losing billions of dollars because of this administration. Billions that come to us. People that come from other countries use American dollars, use our businesses, hotels, amusement parks, whatever entertainment that they get here. And it's all because of Trump. Him and the entire administration needs to be held accountable eventually. They're robbing the American people blind. And the Republican Party is just sitting there and allowing it to happen. Democracy is dying. Somebody said the constitutional republic. I said, yeah. I said, but in the constitution of the republic, democracy is part of that constitutional republic, right? Because we have to follow the Constitution. I didn't get a response back. Somebody says I have Trump derangement syndrome. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but I tell you this. I know the things that people are going through. Some of my coworkers have lost their job because of the Trump administration and because of what they're doing here. People that are losing their jobs, whether it's in the government sector, whether it's, in the private sector, they're losing their jobs talking about terrible or poor performance. And this is in the government with Doge destroying everything. But their performance had nothing but great numbers. So there was a lie there. We are in a crisis in America. And if you're not in America, let me know what you think in regards to traveling to America. Are you going to wait 4 years, or are you completely done with America? And if you live in America and you support everything that is going on, I have to say this. You're a racist. Real talk. Signing off. Peace and love.
Kiss me goodnight. Let go of it all. Kiss me goodnight. Let go of it all. Kiss me goodnight. Let go of it all. I have confidence, it's not selfish at all. I have confidence, it's not selfish at all.